2021, 4 men got together to make a radio show that nobody asked for. This is the result.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio. I'm Michael Morris with Jonathan Meanick and my buddy Bill Warren. Bill,
morning.
You brought a friend with you today. I think you should introduce. You have to take credit or the blame for who you brought. So who did you bring today?
In 27 minutes, I'll let you know which one I'm taking.
Yeah.
So this is Will Prater. Will's a friend of mine, and he works, he's a vice president with Capital City Staffing Solutions here in Grove City. They're headquartered here in Grove City, but they've, I don't want to steal his thunder, but they've opened up another location in Groveport, and they're also expanding down into the Miami area. That's Miami, Florida, for those here present that didn't pick up on that. But yeah, Will, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. Now, here's what's exciting about this. Bill and I met with Will, I don't know, for 4 to 6 hours, it seemed like on Monday. It was probably 20 minutes.
At least 12. Yeah.
And we were meeting about several different business things that you guys were doing. And can you give us a little background? Because I really want to get into what's going on in the economy as far as trying to find people. Mm-hmm. But give people a little bit of background on what you guys do.
Okay. Capital City Staffing is a logistics and administrative temp to hire staffing firm. So we work with the majority of the Fortune 500 companies here in the Columbus surrounding areas, from Lewis Center all the way down to Groveport and Old Betts and Lockbourne area. What we do is that we source candidates for our clients for temporary to hire 90 to 120 days. So in the logistics space, we really try to find candidates that are going to come in, be a part of that culture and workforce, and eventually be hired on to some very solid positions.
Got it.
So you're responsible for filling up all those beautiful, giant warehouses they're building in Pickaway County right now.
The ones that are
Or
still empty?
he's responsible if they're not filled.
Yeah, right.
I'm the guy that yell at when they're not filled, correct.
Yeah.
So, Will, can I call you Will?
Sure, why not?
Willie, my question is, what are you seeing out there as far as staffing? Because you guys are always looking for people, but what we hear in our everyday worlds is that people aren't going back to work. Is that true? They're just not working?
That's very true, and not just here in the Columbus metropolitan area, but around the country. You're seeing a workforce shortage in almost every single job market you can imagine. In Columbus in particular, yeah, it's that bad.
But why do you think that is?
Well, we are doing everything we can to reach out and talk to people individually, not so much just blanket surveys, but on the phone, in person. Why don't you want to go to work? What are your roadblocks? A lot of it is COVID related. There are people who are very scared to be in groups of people. There are still that group out there. But there are daycare challenges that aren't currently fully staffed and open yet. There's transportation challenges. For a while, COTA wasn't running full service. So you couldn't get a bus on a normal time to get to another bus to transfer to get to another area by 8 o'clock in the morning. Took you 3 hours and 4 buses. Then you have the challenge of people who are taking care of their parents, aunts, family members, what have you. We have a diverse population in Grove City. I don't think people realize. It's French, it's Haitian, it's Hispanic, it's black, it's white. It's just, goes across the board. So we're seeing a lot of people who have challenges in large families that just can't go. And then we have another group.
You notice how he looked at you, Jonathan?
I did.
I
totally felt
when
that.
I looked at Jonathan, I could tell he's getting tense because Jonathan does it really well for himself. He just throws money at homeless people just for fun to see if they'll chase the money.
I stood out front this morning and I just had my hand out. I got $10.
Listen, if you have a hat, Jonathan will put money into it.
Appreciate it.
But he keeps his nose up when he does it.
He didn't speak to me or look at me.
Listen, I wouldn't speak to you if you weren't on this show, just so you know.
I understand.
But again, when we're talking about things like, I feel like we're like 3 crotchety old men because when we're talking about why people won't go back to work, like we have an incident every Wednesday. We won't say the place, but they have a lot of pancakes. They can't even staff that restaurant, right?
No, it's impossible.
So we were talking to the manager one day that said he might interview 10 people and 1 actually shows up. They don't stick around. You're doing more advanced things, placing in people in better jobs than that. But what's the most common thing that you hear from people that aren't going back to work? Because I'm sure they're probably coming in and going, I don't want to go now, but I just want to know what's out there.
Well, that's exactly right. I'm not going today or this week, but I just want to know what you have. So when I go back, I can, come in and
so
get a
they're
spot.
window shopping, John?
They're window shopping.
They're literally kicking the tires.
They are. And most people in staffing realize that my candidate is registered with all the other agencies.
Yeah.
It's just who's 50 cents more. So the pay rates keep going up for, the normal labor, retail or unskilled labor, as they call it. It used to be 12, 13. It's now 14.50 is the bottom and 20 is the high.
Wow.
But if it's not the right shift I want or the right location I want, then I'm just not going to go.
Right.
They want that 20 hours a week, working 10 to 2,
That's too many hours. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'll take it if it's paying $20 an hour.
Many hours.
Yeah, 15 an hour, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So
and that's it.
Let me ask you this, because I work with small businesses. Well, I shouldn't say small businesses, but just businesses in general, doing retirement plans, things like that. I had one business I was working with. It was a roofing company, and he found the perfect people he wanted. He needed laborers to get tools, to carry shingles to the roof, to help tear off, just manual labor. That's what he needed. He found the perfect people. Was going to pay him, I think, $17 or $18 an hour.
Okay.
Right out of high school. They have no skills. They're making $17, $18 an hour. Found these guys. Now, they were considered low IQ, so they were lower on the IQ spectrum.
They should be on this show.
Well, they should be. Maybe they're running this show. I don't know.
My staff, maybe.
So these guys show up. They go through a week of work. They test out. They do exactly everything that they're supposed to do. And then they call him up and they say, hey, sorry, we can't work on Monday. And he's like, why not? You're exactly what I want. And they said, well, if we work, then the government's going to cut our Social Security disability that we get paid because we're considered low IQ. And so we can't work too much because then the government will take that away from us.
Correct.
And he's like, but I'm paying you more than the government's paying you. You just got to show up and work.
Well, let me ask this part. Take it the other way. The government, Bill, you were saying some people are getting more money now if they don't work because of the current climate.
Now in Ohio, they're changing some of that, but in talking to a lot of my clients and just local businesses, that's the challenge. Is they're like, wait a minute, you're going to pay me how much, and I got to work how often? I can stay home and make that or more.
Yeah,
it's not good business to go.
Right, exactly.
It's not good business.
And a lot of, I don't think too many people understand the pressures. They're starting to, because, you and I were talking about it. The McDonald's up the street was closed at 9:00 the other day.
Yep.
Because they didn't have
20
people.
nuggets, bitches.
Right? you go into certain restaurants and it's like, well, it's about a 20-minute wait, and there's like 4 booths right there, and like, we don't have the staff to cover that.
Right.
But the one that floored me was a daycare center. And they're very heavily regulated when you look at teacher-student ratios.
Yes.
Now, she was running very tight within the ratios, had an employee legitimately sick, could not come in. It threw her ratios off. So she had to start contacting parents to see who could get away without bringing their kid in today. Think about that and how you're running your business. The impact that this is putting on some of these business owners is nuts. To me, it's just crazy. And some of these businesses are just throwing their hands up and saying, look, we'll just scale back. We won't hire people. I'll work more. We'll do a lot of other things. And a lot of these businesses don't even realize that these types of services are available and could take some of that off their plate.
Well, that leads to the whole reason when we were talking to Billiam. We were talking to him on Monday about how do you differentiate yourself, because the funny part is I went to the wrong building looking for him to another staffing place. And again, there are probably 10, 15 staffing places in Columbus.
Oh, at least.
Okay, first of all, when I throw out a number, don't look at me like that's wrong. Just say
Your
yes.
research is way off, my friend.
My research I did in the car was how many people, and I just called my daughter, and she's 14, and she didn't know. So 14 is good.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Why wasn't she in school? I don't know. But in your situation, how do you stand out from the crowd? Because you guys are not, I'm not going to say the name of the other places, but you're not these big corporate firms, right? So you got to do something a little different to stand
Absolutely.
out.
And that's kind of our advantage. I was talking to him earlier when I came in. I've been there 8 years, and I've watched this progression over the 8 years of going from People sit in your lobby for 3 hours with their manila folders and all their data. 2 things being done electronically. Now we're in a phase where people don't want to come in and see you. They want to talk to you from the comfort of their own couch. So now we're going to a even more technical platform where we'll just interview you over a Zoom call. If everything works out, we'll see you somewhere for 5 minutes, take your drug test, and you can go on to the next job. But I say that to say we have to have a more personal touch. I'm texting people, hey, I heard you left the job. Can you give me some feedback about why you left? Was it a bad environment? Did you find something else? I'd like to know what's going on. How do I help you? We're making phone calls, doing the same thing. We're talking to families, literally families who come in, 2, 3, 4 people. How do we help you manage this? You want to go here, but this isn't going to work for all of you. This will work for you, and I can get you a good job here. So the days of widgets, in, out, go here, count your money at the end of the day, that's kind of over. Now what you have to have is a much more agreeable approach to understanding these pain points that people have. And there's some people who have a myriad of issues they come through the door with.
Right.
You know, my mother's got COVID. You know, I got a kid with special needs. My car got repossessed.
My wife left me. My truck got repossessed. That kind of thing.
Sounds like a country song.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, but you got through that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, marriage is the best 6 years you can ever spend, and then you pay for another 12. Listen, I'm still on the dole right now. I lost a house and a car, but you know what I got out of it? Nothing.
You got the most,
That's what I got.
I was going to say, the most expensive
Yeah.
free dog ever is what you got.
You got
That is true. I got a $30,000 dog out of it.
That's true.
You got the 30,000.
And Mia, you got
that's
a
another
beautiful
show altogether. We'll come back to that. But
Listen, my favorite thing to do is tell him the stories as a financial advisor, what I spent on this dog, and to watch his eye twitches. And I think he's going to have like an embolism. And I'm like, you don't even know what I put into my car. So that being
a lot less than the dog.
That's true. But the dog gave unconditional love. The other one's a Mazda, so I don't really care.
there you go.
In your circles, because what I thought was really interesting is when we talk about these staffing services, most of the time it is, like you said, come in, sign up, pass your drug test, and we place you, and that's kind of it. You seem to be a little bit more involved. Like you actually went to the job sites this past week. Mm-hmm. Do you do that out of like your own sick, twisted need to see if people show up, or because you really care about these individuals? It's okay if you don't care. Jonathan doesn't care about anybody. It's okay if you don't. But if your answer is you care, I'd like to know why.
So, yes, I do care. I care for probably 2 or 3 really, in my mind, good reasons. One, I have a client to satisfy. 2, I have employees that I need for them to see me, to know that if I'm there, I want you there. And I'm here to answer questions, solve problems. You're not out there on the island by yourself. You have an advocate. And the third thing, very selfishly, is that I want to have the reputation of, hey, these guys show up at 7 a.m. How are things going? You know, I brought in donuts. I brought in coffee. You know, we bring in lunch. Whatever I can do to make the culture and that mesh between an employee and a new employer, because they don't know the new employer. They're just started. They haven't been there before. So they need to understand everything is brand new.
Yeah.
I want to be there to be kind of that interface to say, you're going to be okay. I just need you to stay here for 90 days. Now, around noon, I'll get an email. Hey, you know, 2 guys walked off, said it wasn't their thing. Okay. But the other 5 stayed. And that's what I'm after. I'm after the one at a time I can catch and try to change their mind a little bit about actually being a part of a good company and going through that process.
Yeah.
If I get my old butt out of bed every morning, they can too.
Yeah, one of the things that always impressed me, I've known these guys for about at least 6 years when I met Joe. But one of the is there's some people that come through that are just looking for a job. Right. And you cater to that person to try to help them and coach them and put as much time as you can that makes sense into that person. You've also got other people who come in who are great people, don't know what they want to do. They're looking for direction. And these guys do that. That's what's always impressed me is they really care about the employees. And the people who come in who are really looking for some help and some direction, that's why these guys are surviving. Is because I've seen they do that better than anybody I've ever seen.
Well, you kind of have to, you know, because your reputation at the end of the day is your reputation. Your perception is reality.
Yep.
And don't tell Joe this, but we've had people come in that I've referred to other agencies. I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, so and so, how you doing?" We all know each other in the business. So.
You know we're recording this. You just said
Hey,
don't tell him.
We're gonna need to edit that part out.
Well, my guy's just going to edit it out for me. He's already been paid.
Oh, I didn't know.
With his money this month.
Right, yeah. It's
I didn't
exactly.
know if
I
Joe didn't have
sprinkled a little on it.
YouTube money, so he couldn't
He doesn't have
subscribe.
YouTube money.
The show is free.
But we'll make sure that if you have a need, we want people to say, those guys, they couldn't help me out. They didn't have anything that fit what I needed, but they referred me somewhere.
Yeah.
We've taken checks and pay cards to hospitals, people's homes, so they could have money for the weekend because they couldn't get out to pick up their checks or they didn't have direct deposit. We've made sure that people come through the door. We bought steel-toe boots so they can go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
We try to do things on a very personal level because we are a small company.
Right.
But we really do well. Through the pandemic, we actually grew. And we were able to open up the office in Groveport. The Miami, Florida office is coming open here shortly. So we did some good things, and we kind of throw good things out there. Good things kind of return to you in some certain ways. So we do try to be very personal.
Love it.
In this instance, when you're thinking about, because what we're seeing is things change every day, whether it's vaccine mandates or masks or whatever. What do you see on the other end of this? So 6 months from now, or do you just kind of work in the present? Like I keep telling people, whatever we do, think of 12 months at a time, right? We can't control everything that happens, but if I'm looking at results, I want to see what happens in a 12-month period.
Sure.
Because you're going to have ups and downs. How do you guys view a successful month or quarter or a year? Because you're bringing in people that you don't know. They might walk off a job. What do you view as a success? Because you are a small business, but you're a small business that's really trying to, like you said, an advocate. You're trying to build a relationship with somebody, whether it's short term or long term. Like, what is the thing that makes you feel like you won?
That's a great question. I
ask a lot of great questions.
I heard that. I'm not quite sure that's true, but we're gonna roll
Angie
that
Beasley
now.
loved my questions. Get this guy the hell out of
Angie
here.
Beasley, great insurance company. Call Angie. Shameless plugs okay here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Brought to you by Starbucks.
The success is literally looking at that board and understanding that we really did do a great job for our clients. Every client doesn't get everything they want, which is why every client has 3, 4, 5 agencies that they use. But if we know that we did our best to put good candidates, not just throw bodies somewhere, but we put good candidates that should work out, that should be optimal, that should get hired on at the end of the day, then that's success. And that's the only way we can look at. Because this is not unprecedented. We've been through bad times before. I mean, the job market here is a little crazy. It's going to get crazy. And to your point, every quarter we look at these metrics and, everybody looks at their spend and everything else and their forecast. This isn't going away.
No.
This is life now. This isn't going to go away. And you're going to see this across the board for the next 12 months. And people should buckle in and understand that this is the new change. This is the market adjusting itself, so to speak.
Yep.
So we're going to see this from here on out. And the companies that are able to adapt and change in terms of the micro things. What can I be better at? More efficient at for the people coming through my door to service them still in a high quality manner, but less intrusive. Instead of 30 minutes, how can I make it 15 minutes?
Right.
What can I do to make it more inviting? What can my staff be trained on how to be more personable, more engaging, get down to the fine little nuts and bolts of what they need and then try to deliver that. Even our clients are doing the same thing. Clients are installing game rooms. They're going to off shifts. They're saying, hey, maybe 32 hours a week is the way to go. Joe had a brilliant idea that we talked about and implemented right away. We don't start anyone on a new job on Mondays. And we talked to our clients and said, listen, if you look at the numbers, 75% of people don't show up on Monday. Why? Because it's technically for them still the weekend.
They're paying the piper from the weekend.
It's still the weekend for them. And
You're still in a fog.
they're still in the fog. For whatever it may be.
I still show up. I mean,
But are you really working?
Yeah, but you're used to being in a fog.
that's true. That's a good point.
Jonathan adjusts his monocle at 6 a.m. on a Monday. And he says, who can I make money from today?
But so now we're going through Tuesday through Thursday and optional Fridays for start new people. And the clients kind of went, no, wait. That gives me time to get my stuff together on Mondays. Because sometimes my supervisors don't show up. Had a client, had a brand new supervisor coming on board, didn't even show up first day.
Supervisor.
Yeah.
They hired a brand new supervisor in a managerial role.
Even clients
and the dude
no-showed. Even the clients are having a hard time direct hiring people.
It's crazy.
They're just not out there. So, now we're looking at Tuesday start through Thursday, possible Fridays. And that way, you have that whole day to get your stuff in order to start Tuesday. And we'll call you and we'll confirm with you. Everything's okay? Are you up yet? It's 2 in the afternoon. Can I talk to you? Your service okay? Are you good? All right. Are you going to work tomorrow? You know what? I thought about it. I'm not going to go. No problem. That gives us a chance to call the next guy on the list and say, hey, your spot opened up.
Yeah.
Can you start tomorrow? It helps everybody, and these are some of the adjustments we're going to have to make across the board. Every staffing agency, no matter how big they are or how small they are going to have to get more grassroots, so to speak, more into people. We have people out in the street going to neighborhoods talking to people now. I can't wait for people to come through the website or to the office. We have to go to them. So.
What I think is weird is because I think, like Jonathan and I will talk about what's going on in the market. And again, we only invest in overseas companies because the United States is garbage. But that's his words, not mine. But what's weird is you're not seeing
the
a slowdown.
Afghani. That's the new thing right
Listen,
now.
there's a lot of jobs that are going to get
baby.
Yeah.
The big T's in power. It's got to go
What
up.
was the stock we bought? Some Chinese like Uber or something like that? Don't tell them on here because that's free.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say that.
But the good news is I bought a shit ton of that. And when that explodes or China starts a war, doesn't matter because my ride service is going to be providing all those tanks and all that.
No doubt about it.
So, but what I think is weird is we're seeing the struggles from companies hiring people, but it's not affecting the bottom line.
No, I mean,
It's not stock wise.
No, it's not, but it will. I mean, that's the problem is it will at some point. I mean, Amazon, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, had that national day of hiring. They wanted to hire 50,000 people, and they were able to get 20. 20. I mean, this is a company that rewards their employees in stock. It's a hard job. It's not easy. No one ever said it was. But anything worth a damn isn't easy. I mean, if you want to make something of yourself or you want to have a good life, I don't understand this complacency.
Okay, so I'm a really old guy, as we can all tell.
Right.
So
we should be fair. Will is 83 years old. He looks really good for his age.
83. The philosophy has changed. If you talk to, like, my sons are in their 20s. If you talk to their friends or people around their age or people come through our door, they don't believe the same things that we believe growing up.
Yeah.
They've challenged everything and say, I don't think you guys were right. I don't think you need to work 40 hours a week. I don't think you need to own a home. I don't think you need to work that hard to get whatever the American dream is. What I need from you is this 20 hours a week at $20 an hour, maybe 2 weeks, and just so I get stocked up. And then I'm gone. But the whole philosophy of how we probably grew up, the things that we worked for and did and believed in, that's not quite how it happens for them anymore. They don't quite see it that way.
But do you think they just have a
business
different dream?
Oh, it's a much different dream.
But
it's a global
that's
dream.
what I want to know is what is that dream? Because you can only buy so many dream catchers and soup up your car so much because at some point home ownership should still be a goal unless you want to live with your parents, right? I mean, if you're 25 still living at home, I guess that's okay. But at some point you have to be the generation that teaches another generation. Mm-hmm. If you have no work ethic, what are you passing down?
Yeah. Yep.
It's not even as much work ethic. And the American dream, now there are several million American dreams. It's not just one dream anymore. And these younger generations, they look at it as, I've got multiple options. I can go just do about anything I want to do. So there's not a dream. It is what's going to make me comfortable at the moment. Yeah. And do I need a IRA?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody does.
Their argument would be, why?
Because that's a great question. You know what's interesting though is a lot of people. I've talked to some of these younger people, and part of my job is I take on a lot of younger clients to help educate them because the government is not going to take care of you forever. Do you know who got paid less this year than anybody else?
Nancy Pelosi. Shit.
Well, no,
Wrong.
she made
Sorry.
a shit ton of money.
I guessed. I got
that's a good
excited.
guess.
I
That's
guessed.
a-
No, it's a
I did ask
horrible
for a
guess. Horrible guess.
No, it was all of our senior citizens on Social Security. Social Security was never raised. Yet you could have a married couple sitting at home making $100,000 if they were unemployed. Because of COVID.
That's
no joke. Those are real
social
numbers.
insecurity.
Social-
insecurity is
Yeah.
what they need to call
Should
it.
have stayed married.
Right.
Yep.
Well, but that's the thing is so like people don't understand, and they know if you talk to any of these young people, they'll tell you the first thing you say, "Hey, is how much you think you're going to get paid on Social Security?" They're going to say, "I'm not going to get Social Security."
No, they'll absolutely tell you that you're 100% right. But what they'll also tell you is that on my phone is an app for Robinhood and for Web Bulls.
right.
And other, I'm going to be a millionaire in 6 months on penny stock.
Hey,
and you look at
What's the other Bitcoin?
I have different options than you guys had.
Right.
So
absolutely, and I encourage them to embrace that. And then when they really F it up, come talk to me because it's going to happen.
Yeah, but to get someone, no matter how educated they may be as a young person, you're still young.
Yeah,
and to get them to understand that. Yeah, but you still always need this. These are some basic things in life that never go away that you just have to do in life. We'll see. And so you say, so they hit their head and they go, "Hey, sir, you still got that pamphlet on the the Roth IRA? Can I still get in that?"
Exactly.
Listen, we've run out of time because I don't know why you talk so much. But Will, can you let people know how they can get in touch with you? Because again, there's going to be a lot of people sitting at home doing nothing, watching this on YouTube. If you'd like to not show up at a job, where can they reach you?
They can always reach me. We're at 3136 Broadway here in Grove City. The number is 614-875-5222. Hit option 3.
Nice. Boys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you to Vladimir Putin again for sponsoring the show, and we will see you next week.